All right, everybody, welcome back to the Dad's Taking Over Now
podcast.
Oh,
I'm Aaron.
And I'm Zane.
and I'm Silas.
All day.
See, that wasn't that bad.
No, it's not.
That was pretty good. Dad, you
Threw
should do
a
the intro.
curveball on
Throw
us.
us a comment if you think Dad should do the intro more often.
No, I like to sit here and just think. It's good.
Wisdom. Let me
Yes,
adjust my mic here real
something.
quick. Okay, so rather than doing a life update, because our lives are boring and you still just had surgery
They're
and are
not
feeling
boring.
better.
Our lives are good.
Wait a minute. Are you on pain meds?
Right now? No,
Yeah.
I have some.
I was hoping you'd be a little bit loopy for the podcast.
I don't get
think
loopy.
that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, that's what we need.
What? I get loopy if I'm on pain meds. Yeah. Okay, so we talk a lot. If you guys have questions or comments or anything, leave them in the. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And so we had a question come in, and I just had it pulled up and I lost it, so now I have to find it again. And so,
So while he's finding it,
yeah, you
Zane,
talk.
any life updates?
Well, I'm still worried about Christmas presents. Not worried. That's not the right word. But my I ordered these pairs of shoes for my wife.
Oh, yeah.
And then they delivered it to the wrong. They delivered it to the wrong address. And then
Somebody
I
else
called
got a nice
them
pair of shoes.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Ordered a new pair. Got refunded for the other one. Ordered a new pair. The new pair's stuck in the facility. Completely separate order. What's going on?
I don't know.
No way.
I want to know. Somebody in the Stratford FedEx distribution center
He's
needs to
stealing Zane's shoes.
hit me up in the comments. I need to know what's going
Is
on.
it UPS or FedEx?
FedEx?
Oh,
Not to call out FedEx.
ask
but
your younger
it is
brother.
FedEx.
Hey, my wife had a
Ask
birthday.
Eli. He's top
Here's
wrench.
a life update.
Yeah.
Your mother had a birthday.
I know.
Happy birthday,
This is
Lori.
awesome. I called her yesterday, and I was like, I had seen her yesterday morning. I forgot to say happy birthday, so I called her after. I was like, oh, happy birthday, by the way. And I hear Dad in the background go, oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, I kind of. I
Somebody
didn't
forgot.
forget, but
One year, you actually
Kind of.
forgot her birthday.
she likes.
There was no,
Yeah.
you
I
for-
know. I'm
Yeah.
a guy. It's okay.
No, that's, oh.
It's okay for guys not to remember.
Today, we're talking about passivity.
All right, here we go.
Okay,
Final
so
comments?
if you guys have comments or questions, leave them, and we'd love to talk about them. So we have one on, this is a short, Dad, you talking about going forth and multiplying, and the commandment that is to go forth and multiply, to go forth and have many children and, fill the earth
Given to Adam, given to Noah, given to me.
vicariously.
And you.
So this is a comment we got. Could you respond to this critique? That was then, this is now. Meaning, yeah, sure, it was Adam and Eve. They were supposed to, when it was Adam and Eve, they were supposed to have children, but today we have freedom to choose not to.
We do?
That's the
Ooh,
question.
I would say
That seems to be the question.
But I would think the what do they call it? The burden of proof would lie on that perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing's changed. I mean, you don't have to.
When you say the
Children are a
burden of proof,
blessing.
meaning if you're going to change what God said in the Old Testament, you should be providing something He said sooner.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain laws that were ceremonial laws, and you had sacrificial law, and you had some of those things were done away with at the cross. But the creation mandate, I don't believe that's ever been annulled.
Yeah.
Again, I've said this before to people. In a nice way, I don't care what you choose to do. I mean, I know that our life was greatly blessed by it, and it was it's definitely it's hard. It's a tough it's a tough pill to swallow in the sense because it really you don't know how many children God could give you. So it's weird. I mean, there's lots of verses you can apply, and people are doing that, right? Thinking, you don't sit down and count the cost of a tower before you build, and all those kind of things. That's all. There's all some legitimacy to that. But specifically to his question, you can take that perspective. I mean, I don't think we've ever been.
I think I agree with you
backtracked.
in the sense of the perspective's interesting, but the reasoning, which is that was then, this is now, is pretty faulty. There's a lot of things different now than it was then, but it doesn't mean it excuses you to do things the Bible commanded not to, or vice versa.
Was he specifically talking about the command to be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth?
Sounds like it.
Okay.
Well, it said because now you can choose not to, and I
Well,
assumed
it's
by
worded a
that
little
he
worse
meant
than
the.
that.
Well,
birth
and
control.
I think that perspective comes from the Old Testament, Old Covenant. But I mean, if he's referring to that creation mandate, that's different than the law of Moses. I think that's what I would say is, I mean, we're still commanded to work. We're still commanded to be fruitful and multiply. We're still commanded to have dominion over the earth. All of the creation mandates are still part of our job as God's people. So I don't think it has anything to do with the Mosaic covenant.
I definitely took it differently in the sense when he said you can choose not to, meaning like birth control.
Right.
Oh yeah.
But I would say the same thing we said then,
Or we
which
have
is
Christian liberty now.
yeah.
But I think you're running from a blessing. You're not running from a responsibility. That's
Yeah.
where it's like, want to rethink maybe how you're framing that.
Well, I think what we said on the podcast is the great answer, which we already said it, but it's not a sin necessarily because, the Bible doesn't say explicitly not to be on birth control, but it is a sin to choose to prevent having children without the intentional prayer and like discernment of what's God calling our family to.
Yeah. Well, I think what our main point of that episode was like children are a blessing, like you said.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of times in our culture, people are viewing children as they're holding me back, they're a burden, this kind of stuff. And if that's something that you think about children, you think like they're going to hold me back, even from ministry opportunities, I think that's what we were challenging people to think about.
Yeah. Good work.
Yeah.
Okay, so scenario number 2. This is not a comment left, but I was watching a Instagram the other day, or maybe it was Facebook, and this interesting reel came up. So the footage is a mother in her kitchen singing and like clearly like worshiping with her children. Now I judged her a little bit because she's like worshiping with her children and she's filming it when there's nothing wrong with that. It's a little funny, but I film myself doing things sometimes. However, the part that I was judging her for was she was wearing headphones, but her kids weren't.
So
I'm like, what are the kids listening to? Like, is it just mom singing? Like, maybe she's got a great voice, but it just kind of made me laugh. But her caption was what caught my attention. And I want you guys to respond to this. So it says, my job as their mother isn't to get them into Harvard. It's to make sure they get into heaven.
Ooh.
On the outside.
What does that have to do with her listening to
worship music? Well, she was just worship. She was just
the Holy Spirit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Them around Christ-like
words
things.
of power.
Yeah, that's all good, sort of.
So on the outside, and if you read the comments, it's like, amen, sister. That's so good. I needed that, But what? And I don't think she meant this way. But I'm taking it to the extreme for the sake of an example.
Calvinist.
Technically, wouldn't that be the opposite of Calvinism? Yeah. That would be very Arminian.
Yeah. Are you asking like my thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
so I'm asking. So again, I'm not attacking this mother. I don't think she meant it the way that I'm portraying it as. I'm intentionally portraying it as the exaggeration for the sake of a good conversation.
Yeah, have fun with those kind of things. I would say that's great. I mean, I wouldn't. If I was her husband, I would just, I'd put a little heart emoji on it. Probably say, "Oh, good job, honey." I probably wouldn't do that, but I would still think she's okay. But like, if you're really thinking it's your job, that's a heavy weight. That's not, that's the Holy Spirit's role. I tell parents and future men all the time, because we'll get parents who like, they're not even Christians, and they'll be like, we like your program mainly because of the apprenticeships, but like, are you going to shove, Christianity down my kid's throat kind of a thing? I'm like, well, yes, it's in all of our counseling, no doubt, but we're not the Holy Spirit. We know, we can't like judge this kid or, condemn him, so to speak, or give him different treatment than anybody else would get if he's a professing unbeliever. It's like that's between him and the Lord. We'll do everything we can to expose them to that, to the gospel, to the truth, like you would with their own kids.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, her point was, I agree with her, but it's not necessarily her role. So.
We talked about this before, where a lot of times parents like, that's my job. And it's like, you're not the Holy Spirit. Like, your job is to be a good steward and to teach your children and to be a good example.
Yeah.
And to trust God.
And I'm taking this as, I think she's just saying I should be focused on raising my children to know God and have a relationship with them.
Silas is just critical.
Yeah. I doubt she's like, I got to get my son into heaven.
Do you think maybe she was like, maybe this will get me on Future Families podcast?
Maybe.
We'll really have made it when that's why people are making videos.
That'd be great.
Oh, they're rage baiting us. That would be insane. That'd kind of be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we have some interesting conversations. So we are talking today a lot about children's responsibility in the home. Would you say it's an accurate description?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Break
the subtitle, are allowances good or bad?
Yeah, today we're talking about allowance, chores, just work in general in the family, and a child's place in the home. Yeah. So I kind of wanted to start the conversation around kind of pushing back against this cultural idea that children should be paid for their work as if they were an employee. And I think that's really what it comes down to is there's this general feeling in our culture that if you're going to do work for somebody else, you should be paid for it. If not, then it's like wrong. It's like morally wrong. So I kind of want to just start there with that idea, Aaron. What do you think about that?
Well, when I was in high school, back in 1983, I remember this.
Dating himself.
There was a program at our local colleges called Regional Occupational Program. And basically,
named that.
They offered this to high school kids in the area, and you could sign on for job training. And it was a 6-month commitment. And basically, you worked, I think, like 25 hours a week doing something. And I chose veterinary hospital. So I would go to the veterinary hospital and clean cages and sweep floors and watch surgeries and, vacuum rooms when the guests were gone, just whatever they needed for 6 months, wanting to be trained as like a vet tech. That was the goal of that. Now, if Dr. Kraft, that was his name, had been paying
Was he the founder of Kraft Mac and Cheese?
He was not.
Okay.
He was the founder of Noah's Ark Animal Hospital in Diamond Bar, California.
Oh,
Noah's
I like
Ark
that.
Animal Hospital.
And Glenn, if you're listening, I appreciate everything you did for me. You're a great guy. So he was.
Wait,
he was a good
now
friend.
you're on a first name basis? It was
Well,
Dr. Kraft. Now it's Glenn.
Well, I'm old now.
You think you have a podcast? You can
You
just say
call
what you
him
want.
Glenn.
Glenster, good job, buddy.
Glenny.
So he, he never felt obligated to pay me. And if he would have, the scary part would have been, what would he be paying me for? Because only thing I could do was be sweep floors and mop and clean, because you can kind of tell somebody that once and then set them loose. And my fear, I've told people that train my kids, like when Hawken got his job working at Michelle Electric, right? I said, we don't want him to get paid. We want you to pour into him, because you're more apt to train somebody if you know they're only in this for the training. They don't want money, because money will be spent. That's what I always tell my kids. You're going to spend the money, but the experience will stay with you forever. So get whatever angle you can to where that boss feels obligated to pour into you spiritually, academically, right? With the trades, it's way more important than money. Now I know we have child labor laws, and I know that in the 1800s, it was like this, probably earlier than that, these sweatshops for kids, and they're probably still going on today. That's all terrible, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about work around the home, so you have family buy-in. We're talking about genuine job skills for young men when they're 12 on up. I mean, get them learning. I mean, Angus is learning different job skills now, and it's I think it's very important. They start off in your home, and then you pass them on to men who have skills you don't have, right? I remember when we were living in California, we had 2 or 3 kids at the time, maybe 3 or 4, I don't know. We had some kids, and I was, my trade, I did a lot of cement work, rock fireplaces and things like that. I love doing, rock work. And a lot of my friends were also in construction, but they did flat work or they would do plumbing or whatever. And we would always talk about, when our kids get older, you train my kids, I'll train yours.
What's flat work?
Oh, sidewalks, foundations for
concrete?
homes. Oh, it's the worst. Yeah, it's the men who do that, it's good pay. It's very good job, but man, it's just, you got to be strong, really strong, because you're pushing around mud all day long. I don't envy them.
I probably couldn't do it.
I couldn't, especially not now. But anyway, that's a quick take on a regional occupational program, and honestly, where the idea for future men apprenticeships, where that started in my own brain. I mean, if you look up what an apprentice was way back when, it was a room and board and job training, and it was 7-year commitment that fathers would give their sons to the blacksmith or to the store owner or whoever.
And usually you would leave wherever you were and go live with them, and they're
you would live in their house, you'd eat their food, and that was your payment for them training you. And it's that's how you got your job. That's fantastic. But we don't do that anymore. We kind of play the game of, hey, you're in school till you're 18, and then everybody will look at you with expectations of, well, now what are you going to do? And the kids are like, I have no idea what I'm going to do.
That's a great question.
And everybody's mad. And it's I mean, that's it. And then so a lot of kids go to college because it's just the default idea. If they can, if they're academically okay to do that, and they don't know what they're studying, so they just waste money, party and drop out, quit, get bad grades, because it was never their passion, so to speak. They just didn't know what to do next.
So that's sort of vocational apprenticeshiping. Yeah. Which actually, it seems to sort of be making sort of a comeback. At least the trades are. I don't know about the apprenticeship specifically, but they kind of go hand in hand. Zane, when you talk about children's roles in the home,
so the
dive
younger
into
kids
that.
now.
Yeah. What are you talking about there?
Yeah. So I'm glad we talked about that general idea, because I think how this plays out in the home is kind of downstream of like this cultural idea a lot of times, which, to your point, there are still in the world, there's still like situations that are evil and taking advantage of kids. And so like this idea that children can be taken advantage of through work is true, but like that's a completely different situation, like a sweatshop type situation, you know, than what we're talking about when he's talking about apprenticeship or just being helpful around the home. And I think sometimes parents equate the two, or just our culture in general. They're like, if you're
They think they do. Yeah. They think they're the same.
yeah,
You look
that
back
it's
even in our
abusive.
nation in the 1700s, 1800s, you know, farm families were always huge because they needed help. Right? They needed kids to like work. We can't run a farm without our families. And hiring people, a lot of farmers didn't have the, you know, access to that kind of money because they, you know, the markets were probably not that great. And I'm sure their crop yields weren't that great because it's a long time ago. So you had a bunch of kids, and the kids learned to work. They grew up being, you know, men and women who could provide. And by the time they were 16, 17, they were ready to go do their own thing. That's
Well, I think two things can be true at the same time. Meaning, sweatshops can be horrible and wrong in the worst case scenario, and kids can work for their mom and dad and contribute and learn responsibility and what it means to help. So what does that look like?
Well, and I think the other part of it is some families are worried that they don't want to take advantage of their kid. The other part of it is they don't want to ruin their childhood.
right.
And so they're
Yeah,
like,
I hear that a lot.
you know, I had to grow up, and in the middle of winter, I had to go out and collect the eggs and like, you know, take the cows out to pasture and all this stuff. And so they're like, I don't want my kids having to do that. I've heard that so many times.
Or we live in a city, we don't have any jobs for our kids to do. We don't know what to do.
yeah.
So we can address both those. So keep going.
Anyway, so what we want to address today is kind of this idea: what is a child's place in the family? So I think we should just start with this idea of allowance. There's I don't know where this came from. I think it's been around for a long time, at least in American culture. This idea that you just pay your kid a wage basically for being alive. Right, like I guess that, I mean, that's the
Depending on who your
main
parents
idea.
are, that might be good.
Yeah, I think that's
For
the main
paying you 'cause
idea.
you put up with us.
And parents have reasons for it. I'm sure.
Teaching stewardship, teaching,
Yeah.
you know, how to like break down your money into categories. And,
Teaching welfare, continue.
I actually wrote that down. It's a training tool for welfare if you're not careful. A
Yeah.
scriptural verse, right? If you're faithful in little, you'll be given much. So we're in theory, we are training them up to, hey, you've been used to, you know, a little bit of money, you're dividing it well, you're managing it well. When you're older, you'll manage your money well also. And that's true. But it doesn't necessarily, as you're going to say, have to come through allowance.
Right. And I think you just have to think through as a parent, why am I doing this? Because if you're having if there's an intention behind it, you want to teach them responsibility with money, okay, then you kind of need to think through the repercussions of it. Because I think what we see in a lot of American families is this entitlement, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
kids are born and therefore they're owed all of these things. We teach it in our schools. We teach it. The government teaches it to us through these welfare things and
What do they call
programs
it? Cost
and
of living wage now.
cost of living wage. Yeah,
It's insane.
and it's all over the place. And I think what you need to be careful as a parent is to not just like assume that this is the right thing to do. It could be. I mean, I guess there are some cases in some families where maybe it makes sense with what you're trying to teach them, maybe at a certain period.
Well, there's a difference between a parent saying, okay, every week, these are your expectations in our family. You're going to empty the trash. You're the older sibling. You're going to, you know, babysit on, you know, Thursday nights for mom and dad when we go out or when we have people over to our house. You're going to do the laundry. And we're going to pay you X amount of dollars for your service to our home. And we've taken into consideration, you still live here. You still, you know, you need to contribute just because you're part of the family. But we're asking, you know, a good amount in order to relieve like your mom or your dad, because you could be washing the cars, could be mowing the yards, you know, those kind of things as well. So there's definitely your intention can matter here.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just hey, you get $10 a week, like you said, Zane, for breathing, that's a pretty scary message your kids being sent.
Yeah.
And you can send it, but
Well, and I think 2 Thessalonians 3, we hear many of us have probably heard this verse before. 10, it says, "For even when we were with you," oh wait, I put in the wrong one.
3:10.
3:10. Oh yeah. No, that's just the first half. "For even when we were with you, we would not give this command: if anyone is not willing to work, let him not eat." And I think the principle here is work comes before reward. Yeah. And it's funny here, but eating is a reward even. It's not a right. It's not an entitlement. And I'm not saying that to be like, wow, starve.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Clip
that
one.
Yeah. Don't take that
From
out of
Zane,
context.
the
I'm not saying you
nicest one
should
here.
starve
I
your kids if they're
know.
not doing anything. But what I am saying is this assumption that your kids are just owed all of these things and you should teach them that from a young age, I think is really detrimental to them.
We see the end result all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it teaches, if you're doing the thing where you're paying your kids to live, right? There's a good quote that says people pay attention to what they pay for. And if I'm a kid, I'm getting free money every week, then I'm going to spend it on whatever the heck I want because I don't really care because it's free and it's guaranteed.
There's more coming.
So I'm like, oh, cool. Like it's like a stimulus check. It's like, oh, nice. I guess I'll just do whatever I want with this.
Well, and
there's no real value to it because I didn't do anything to earn it.
Yeah. And with what's that proverb that says, train up a child in the way he should go and he will not depart from it.
When he is old, he will not depart from it.
And when he's old, he will not depart from it. I think that applies here. You have to be thinking. I mean, a parent wants to provide all these things for their kid. I was talking to a family the other day. Like, a good parent wants to give their kid good things. But you have to be thinking, what am I training them to expect?
Yeah.
Because if you're going to give them all these things without them having to work for it, without them knowing how to work for it, without being able to deal with the struggle that comes with real life, when they turn 18, they're going to be directionless. They're not going to know how to go out and make a living and support themselves, let alone a family. So you just have to have kind of like the big picture. Like we've said on many podcasts, you have to start with the end in mind.
Yeah.
And that, I think that includes little kids. Like
Well,
how young can you start teaching
So
kids?
this is what's fun. Like if you're doing a parenting class, which we do all the time, and again, it's not because we're so great. It's just because it provides forum for questions, new ideas. But like during the accountability part of the parenting class, they're talking about what they're doing for family worship, but they're also talking about what they're doing for family chores around the house. And it's like, I think that's good because, they'll be talking about their little, I don't know how to relate ages. I mean, I had a bunch of kids, but I don't remember.
5, probably.
Or younger than that. I mean, emptying the trash. Right?
Yeah.
Going around to the different bathrooms and bringing it to the kitchen trash and dumping it in, right? A 3-year-old can do that. And it's like they have a part in the family, unloading the dishwasher, vacuuming floors, wiping down, messes on the counters. I mean, kids can participate just like adults can participate. And when we include them in that, right, there's ownership into the family. And then there's also like you're teaching in them like an eye for detail. Like if you're dumping the trash and the kid, because they will for a long time, they'll spill half of it. Then you don't get on their case. You just say, okay, now we clean it up, right? And it's always more work when you're teaching somebody how to do something than it is for you just to do it yourself. And we've said this on past podcasts, but it's always true. It's always more work. You're wasting your time in the sense of for that very day. But fast forward 3 months, now you're saving time because they're emptying the trash very efficiently. You don't have to do it anymore. They have a role in the family. You're able to do, more discipleship, better meals, whatever it is that you're wanting to do as the parent. But it's not just freedom for the parent. That shouldn't be your only goal there. It should be, I'm training my kid to work. I'm training my kid to be a healthy member of a family. And right now it's ours, but his family is right around the corner. And you want them to be ready to work, ready to jump in and be, contributing members of society. So it's huge.
It's interesting because of what you said, which is that parents want to give their kids everything. Like when I look at those, like our little girls, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll buy you whatever you want.
Oh yeah, they're cute.
Right? Because that feels good for me. But in the reality is I think all we're doing is really training them to be like socialists. Like you're like, socialism is bad, right? Like if I live in a society.
Shout out to Mondami. Don't like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Join the school community.
Please don't. But it's interesting because if I told you I'll give you a living wage to do nothing, initially it's like, oh, sweet, I'll take it. But then it's like, wait, I'm doing nothing to earn this. Like it takes away a lot of like pride. It takes away a lot of ownership. It takes away a lot of the satisfaction you could get from
motivation.
It's like
energy.
God provided work for a reason. I think it's because we need it. Yeah,
it's not a result of sin.
Yeah, going back to the creation mandate, like we talked about, it's not something that has just gone away. It's like God designed us to work. And I think that was, when we talk about the creation mandate, that's before the fall. I think a lot of times people are like, work is awful, so it must be part of the fall. Nope. And it's like, hard work's a part of the fall.
Or it's harder than it had to have been.
Harder
than the Bible calls it like thorns and thistles, right?
And I think the key here is people can go the other direction of, I don't want to give my kids anything.
Right.
Right. And that's not the goal. The goal is like train them to be like what you said, which is enjoyable, functioning members of a family and society. So it's where you get to do these things. Like you don't have to do chores. Like you get to it. You get to help make a cleaner house. It's more fun to live in.
Here's a kind of neat thing.
It's a privilege.
I've seen Lori do this several times with our kids because she does pretty much 99% or more
of everything
of buying things in the home. I don't buy anything. But I've seen when the kids have wanted a certain type of shoes, right? A little better shoe than we really would normally want to afford.
Yeah.
She'll just tell them, hey, you know what? We can get the shoes you need for, $15 from Ross, and that's what you're going to get. But you want these for this because you just want them. You don't have to have them. You just want them. Fine. Provide the difference. We'll still pay what we would pay, but you provide the difference through your job, right? Which they usually something through us typically.
So wait,
go ahead.
real quick.
I'm just trying to give a practical way of
which is super practical. I think that's a great example of you're not give. She's not like, oh, you want the better ones? We'll get them. Like there, because there is an expectation. Like you are like, in a way, I know that like he who shall not work, he shall not eat. I think that does apply to mainly adults. I don't think it's talking about a 4-year-old, and I know that's not how you meant to say it. But I'm like, the expectation of a parent is like you should feed and clothe your children, like sort of minimum expectation. But yeah, beyond that, when you're talking about like, okay, I think it's a perfect example. But on that, when you talk about work we provide, because your 12-year-old's not going to go get a job at Chick-fil-A.
Right.
They have to be 14. Shout out to
Angus
Chick-fil-A.
is trying to. Shout out to Angus.
He looks well.
Hopefully he does.
Hopefully he doesn't.
He's a homeschool kid.
So they can't go get that job. So they have to do their chores. So we're just going to talk about what we did for our family because I think it was a pretty good example. And then I want to know what you guys did. We had our daily chores, which we had to do no matter what. We got in trouble if we didn't do them, if we did them poorly. And then if we wanted to make any money, we got no allowance. But we always had the opportunity to where you would say, like if we needed money, we'd go to you and say, what can we do for money? And you'd be like, okay, the yard needs raking, or this garden project needs done, or
wash the car, wash the windows,
make up something,
stop the problem.
Probably make up something.
Do you remember stop the problem?
Yeah, that was a punishment. That wasn't a chore. Stop the problem was getting rocks out of the yard, of which was never achievable.
Because we've always lived on hilly land, and it's like just everything always gravitates downward.
Who was that guy that would roll the boulder up the hill and it fell back down every time?
Atlas? Is that him?
Atlas?
No, he is the guy that has the world on his shoulders.
I don't know.
I don't remember. Anyway, that's the good description of that job.
Like, yeah.
So why would you guys do that? Just dive into what we did and why.
Well, number one, you want to teach them, again, a good work ethic. And chores do that to a certain extent. But when money's motivating, now you're adding value to their work, right? Like buying value. So they realize, okay, so I wanted those tennis shoes that cost $30 more than what mom and dad are willing to spend. So for $30, I had to work, let's say 5 hours, right? Because in my house, I'm kind of cheap. So they work.
Kind of. I think my hourly rate before college, like the year before college, was $250.
Oh,
and that's actually
that is
not an exaggeration.
Silas. Oh wait, maybe after you're splitting it up. That could be
No,
true.
I don't even think it was after I split it up. I'm pretty sure it was.
But look how good you are now. Go ahead and thank me. Go ahead. I'm waiting. Thank you, Dad. Try it. I'm listening. His mic must be on mute. Gabriella, will you check his mic, make sure it's working?
Thanks, Dad.
Oh, very good.
Continue, manipulator.
Thank you. But now there's value. So they know, right? So they go buy those shoes and they're like, I just don't know if it's worth it. Mm-hmm. Right? I got this money now and I've got a little bit of buying power. Was that really what I wanted to buy? Because kids, I see it at Future Men. I mean, literally every time they come back from a break, they'll have a really nice pair of shoes that are like super expensive and they don't care, right? They'll show them off for the first day, but they didn't pay for them. Mm-hmm. Now, if it's a Christmas present, it's a birthday present, that's great. Who cares, right? Do what you want to do. But like in general, in life, teaching your kids to work for something above and beyond just the necessities to like survive, right? That's our job as parents to provide that. I think you're right. But above and beyond that, it's like, yeah, let them work for it, and it'll teach them, how to contribute, how to be. And it's really good, I think, to be under somebody else's authority once in a while too. Meaning a neighbor that you're mowing their yard or watching their cars, or maybe they have a small family business that you go and, do a couple hours a week or whatever it is that you're doing.
They usually pay more too.
They usually
Just
do.
saying.
Well, especially if you've been trained well. Because they realize, man, this kid knows how to work. He doesn't stop every 5 minutes. I don't have to explain things 3 times because you've been doing it since you were a little kid.
Yeah.
You're actually worth something. That's huge. When I did the regional occupation program, right, at the animal hospital, I remember I thought, okay, I really want this job because I liked the idea of being a vet tech. I thought that's what I really wanted to do. So I thought, I'm going to make it to where they don't want me to leave. But the program ends at 6 months. I spent the majority of my time deep cleaning every cage every time I would go there, right when I got there and then right before I left, every time. That way, all the people who worked there never had to clean cages anymore when Aaron was there. And because I knew they'll offer me a job. And they did. It's just like, hey, you can be the irreplaceable person if you put yourself there.
Yeah.
And I think if our kids know that, that's a valuable thing in life. Be the one person that nobody wants to see leave. That that you protect your job, right?
Did you feel that way when I went to college?
I didn't want to lose you.
Yeah, no one does the dishes anymore.
You were pretty good help. Yeah, I missed you.
Okay, thanks.
Some of the boys, I was like,
See,
their wife's gonna love this. Not so good at cleaning up messes.
We don't want to talk about names.
No,
Zane, what did your family do with
Allowance,
and chores and all
work.
that?
No, we did not have an allowance. And I think the chores were kind of divvied up based on age, because me and my brothers were 3 years apart. I was the oldest, so I would do the chores that required a little more attention to detail or being careful, like mowing, weed eating, those types of things. But yeah, we all had like, this is what your job is. But there were only 3 of us, so we kind of we didn't really rotate chores very often. It was like, this is your chore and you do it week in and week out. But it was good. I think looking back on it, I think there's things that as a parent, if I get the opportunity to be a parent, one thing I would add is presenting opportunities to my kids, kind of like you said, to do a project or something around the house that's above and beyond what's the normal expectation of being a part of the family, for my kids to make money. Because especially once they get older, there are like legitimate things that they're going to be wanting to save or spend money on, save for or spend money on. And I want to help support that and teach them to do that. And, I think like 14, 15 is probably the earliest most people would hire like a kid to work for them. There might be other situations where you could like do odd jobs and stuff a lot sooner.
Oh,
than
yeah.
that.
Washing cars, mowing yards, cleaning houses, right?
Yeah.
A nice, well-trained, right, respectful kid at 11 or 12, they'll let them do it.
Yeah.
I mean, they will, because they're thinking $10, mow my yard, or, come vacuum on my floors. Great, do it.
Yeah.
Everybody wins.
Yeah. And your kids are very adamant about that. Like a lot of the future men mentors are like, oh yeah, I'm going to go over to Boldman's. Ren's going to wash my car and all this stuff.
It's
and
funny
I just
now.
laugh. I'm like, you don't even have money.
Yeah.
But you're paying my daughter to wash your car.
Well, it's funny because she's good.
Yeah, she's really
good.
good.
She'll
do a better job than them.
She comes and cleans around the house once a week for us because it's super helpful with Jules working and doing the kids. And it's nice because she just turned 16, so she's getting up there.
Yeah, she's old.
But I would say her work ethic and her ability to do things hasn't changed much. Like she was pretty competent at 13, 14 too. And so I think it's been like, she really is valuable. And we've talked about like, when she's not at home anymore, it's going to be a massive bummer. But I think that's what you want from your kids, is someone like people are disappointed, like you said, when they leave or when they're not available anymore. And her and the little siblings like Angus and Finn, like they'll fight over, actually Finn doesn't do anything. Finn doesn't really clean cars.
She likes to read.
But
we're working on it.
Briar,
you're listening.
I think
I love
Briar
you.
does.
Shout
Briar,
out to
Ren,
Finn.
and Angus, they'll fight over like who's the best car cleaner.
Yeah.
Who vacuums the best? Who like, well, I do a better job on windows. And it's like, that's a good thing to argue about, I guess. Well, you guys can test it on my car.
That's what I always tell them. Let's go find out who's the best.
But it's nice to know like you're raising kids that when they go places, like you said, their first job, people are gonna be like, what the heck? This kid actually like knows how to clean. Because it doesn't take that much. It just takes a lot of repetition.
Well, I think part of what makes a difference in a worker is what is their motivation,
Right.
right? Is it this intrinsic, like, this is part of my character, or am I just here for the money?
Yeah.
Because what we struggle with at Future Men is we have an apprenticeship program, and we have boys that will go and they'll get fired from their apprenticeship because they're just sitting around all day, and it's because they're not getting paid. The apprenticeship program's designed to help them build a work ethic,
Right.
Teach them a work ethic, and they don't see the value in that, so they don't put their best foot forward. When it comes to that, they don't see the long-term benefits. And I think for parents,
that
is
mindset
really
changes though.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, they by the time they leave, they're of a completely different mindset, and they do see the value, and it's neat because I want them to have like to be like, someone that's they're fighting for that kid. Hey, I want that kid at my place. I want that kid over, at my workforce, because why would you not want somebody you've just trained? Right. It's like, it's a gift. It's like our kids when they leave the house. It's the same thing. Anyway,
I think it helps them understand that half of the reward for doing a job well is just that you did it well. And it's not all about the money, because I think you go to a job and it's easy to get lost in the, I'm here for a paycheck. But if you have to do chores a lot and you work for free, you learn to take a lot of joy and pride in that. That's my job, and it was done really well.
So in Colossians, there's a verse that says, whatever you do in word or deed, do all to the glory of God, or whatever your hand finds to do, right? Do all to the glory of God. I tell the Future Men boys especially this, because we live in a house that there's a lot of men, so it gets dirty, really dirty. But anytime you walk in that place, it doesn't smell much. I don't think it does. And it always looks clean. And I tell the boys, if you're doing this for the glory of God, you win. Because when we're going to check the chores twice a day, everybody's got to sign chores. But literally 5 minutes after the chore is checked, it's dirty again, because a lot of people live there. But it's not cumulative dirt, right? By the time the next chore comes around, you've made the house look pretty good all day long. But if the kid knows this is for the glory of God, right? It just changes their perspective. It's like, I'll do my best because I want to glorify him, knowing it's going to get dirty again anyway. Because kids will sometimes say that at the beginning. Well, why do I have to clean the windows? People are going to put their hands on it in 5 minutes. And they're right. They will.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's to glorify God. He gave us this building. He gave us the stewardship opportunity. Let's do it. Right. And I tell my kids the exact same thing. It's like, it's not for, recognition or a prize. It can become that later in life as a job, right? That's fantastic. And we all do, jobs, and we have to make a living. But if you start out as a kid, we're doing it to the glory of God. We're doing it to be part of a family. They see the deeper meanings before money even is involved.
Yeah.
Then when money comes, it's like, they're just as good if you weren't paying them. And I have kids tell me all the time, they'll say, well, if you were paying me, I'd do a much better job. And I'm like, you're wrong.
I don't believe you.
You really wouldn't. Because it's like, the motivation doesn't necessarily change your work ethic.
Yeah.
Now, granted, if I were like in a slave camp and I had to work, it's like a communist regime type thing. Yeah, you would lose heart. You'd lose motivation. You should try to continue to do it for the glory of God, right? Like Paul says about slaves, right? Even the unkind slave masters, you still serve them well. And I think there is a eternal perspective on work. And the more we can remember that and train our kids and those under us to that eternal perspective, man, it doesn't matter who they're working for, doesn't matter what the job is, it's going to be done to the best of that kid's ability, because, the bar never changed. It's still God's glory that's at stake here, not how much money you're making. Same with these podcasts, right? We don't know why we're doing it right now. We're hoping it'll catch, it'll get some traction. But today it's okay. We're doing it for God's glory, because these are things that we think honor him, that we think push parents to, want to glorify him by being better parents. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're not getting paid. It's taking money.
But I think the benefit in that, which it really applies to your kids, is that we're not getting like, it's not like we're getting thousands of views or any money or like tons of like respect and fame and fortune.
Right.
So it's really easy to be like, well, there's nothing to care about. So I have to, you sort of have to do it for the glory of God, or else like, unless you're just really super hopeful and optimistic, which there's a bit of that. Yeah. But I think that's actually a privilege now, because then when you have the reward, then you're just going to do it for the reward. And then eventually, usually too late, you find out the reward was never really enough. Like you chase the money, you chase the fame, you chase this, and then you get there, and it's like Jim Carrey when he got like his third, I don't know, is that some Golden Globe or Oscar or something? He's like, yeah, this is my third. I can't wait to get my fourth. Like jokingly, like, you guys realize this is all like a rat race. We're just chasing something stupid that doesn't mean anything, right? And I think it's interesting. But so when you start off your kids with, you don't get paid for this, it's just the expectation, and we do it to glorify God and be good stewards of what He's given. You're putting them the intrinsic motivations that'll hopefully fuel them for the rest of their life.
Yeah, and I think, every parent or, person that's boss, manager, like anyone in those types of positions has probably felt the convenience of motivating people by money or something that they want in the moment, because it is easier in the moment. Like you could get somebody to do something. So teaching this principle is the hard road as a parent. And I think that's not lost on us. We're not saying like, wow, just change how you parent if you've been doing this, or because a lot of times it is more convenient. And if you're having a stressful week and you just want the kid to help out around the house, it might be tempting to say, oh, I'm just going to pay him, or I'm going to, give him.
Or I'll just do it myself, make sure it's done right.
Or I'll do it myself. Yeah. But I think, what you have to have is like this kingdom mindset of I'm teaching my child how to work well and how to serve the Lord in their work. So I think that's just important to point out.
Super practically, the way Mom did it, not that you didn't do it, but she did all the organization.
Oh, I was the organized one.
Okay. Anyway, on the fridge, just super practical, we had a laminated worksheet, or not a worksheet, but had all our names under it. And under every name, thank you. That was a much better word. Under every name, we had our daily chores. And so I'm trying to think. Mine used to be like organize the DVDs, usually clean bathroom, which means clean the toilet and clean the sink. You're not doing like a deep clean. It's just like a quick refresh, basically. And your kid does those every day. And then about every year, probably, or so, she would change them. So you'd get a whole new set of chores. And that was helpful because it felt better for the first 2 days. You're like, I'm doing something new. And then it quickly became monotonous. But it also taught you how to do a lot of different things well.
Yeah, that was the point.
And then the things that had to be done, sort of, I don't know why they put some things on a rotation, but then there were some things on a rotation. So all the dishes, whether you're cleaning them or you're putting them away, or you're doing dinner cleanup or lunch cleanup or breakfast cleanup, those were all rotational chores. So every week it rotates. So 1 week you do all the dishes for the week. 1 week you do all of the cleanup for a week. And just super practically, you just think of everything in your house that needs done basically every day. You put it on a list and then find the age appropriate for that chore, and then assign it to one of your kids, and take probably a month of being really frustrated that they can't empty a trash can properly. But after that month, it gets pretty easy, and you don't think about cleaning the trash again, and you're teaching your kids. So it's kind of a win-win.
Now, add to that. So what are mom and dad doing when like this dinner cleanup's happening? So setting
in my
example,
opinion, nothing. Yeah, when I was young, I was like,
what was demonstrated to you though?
You would always get it. Well, Mom usually doesn't help clean, which is like sort of like the standard. Like you cook so you don't clean. You should be relaxing. But you would always get up and help us clean the table. We have 2 sinks in our house because there's a lot of children.
Now we have 3.
We call them. Well, yeah, we don't use the third one. It's just a butcher block.
That's true.
But we call they're called Dirty 1 and Dirty 2 as the chore assignments. And if you're smart, you jump. This is a little bit of a fun fact for you. When you notice Dad's going to the kitchen, you get, even if it's not, if you have whichever sink you're on, quickly go to the other sink and start doing that one, because Dad will then take your sink, and then once he takes your sink, leave the other sink and wander around to do nothing.
Thank you, Silas.
That's some chore manipulation there for you. I hope the kids are listening.
And Lori calls this. She's good at this. She sees this, and she's like, they're using you. And I'm like, I'm setting an example. This is good. And it's like, there's a balance somewhere.
It is good because it's like, let yourself be, like, let yourself like help. And you're giving a kid a break. Now, if the kid's sitting on the couch, that becomes
or doing the magic poop.
But your goal is to teach them, hey, your chore's getting covered, so go jump in on someone else's and help.
So, Silas, what's the magic poop?
Magic poop is, personally, I was never very good at this technique because I think it's the technique you want to have. You want to be sneaky because if the kids notice you're skipping out, you'll get ratted out immediately. So the magic poop is you finish dinner and man, my stomach hurts. I got to go sit on the toilet for 10 minutes.
I have to go to the bathroom.
And then by the time I come back, oh, my chore got finished by someone? How convenient. Because dad's very kind of like, you're weird. You're type B, but you're also type A in the sense that you hate things not getting done
probably too much.
quickly. So if the chore's not done by that kid and they're gone, you're like, someone else just do it. Droopy, you're on.
Let's get busy. Come on.
Yeah. And so if you go for the magic poop, you come back and it's like, oh, everything's clean. This is perfect. Now, again, I think that's poor technique. I think if you're trying to get out of a chore, cover someone else's so dad picks up yours and then just wander and look busy, which is actually just as much work as
wasn't the point of the podcast.
No,
how to manipulate your parents.
Well, this happens at Future Men a lot with
I bet it does.
Dinner cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
We have a student right now who we've been working with because he'll take forever to eat dinner. And
That's
so
hilarious.
it's like 10 minutes into dinner cleanup, and then he all of a sudden has to go to the bathroom, and then it's about the end of dinner cleanup by the time he's ready to help.
So you got to watch those kids. We also have the same thing when you have group chores. Like if there's two people on the same chore, the one kid's always slow to get out of bed, slow to eat breakfast, while the other kid's finishing the chore.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you learn a lot about people. You learn a lot about kids, and then I just we'll just separate them and make them do it by themselves, or give them extra work or whatever. But and
then when that's your kid, that's a great thing to pull up in discipleship. Not in the moment. Yeah. Ignore it and don't ignore it. Take note of it in the moment. Don't bring it up in front of the other kids. But when you're in discipleship, that's a great time to be like, hey, I just had this.
Talk.
I was just noticing lately that this is coming up. Am I like missing something, or do you think maybe you're like intentionally skimping? And hopefully they're honest, or maybe they're just clueless. Maybe your kid's perfect.
Yeah, probably.
That's likely.
I doubt it.
Things like the chore chart, though, and walking through what it looks like to create chores in your home, because we sort of talked about we're getting man, you knew where I was going. We're coming up on the end here, but in the school community, if you join that's where we'll have these like very practical worksheets, chore charts. We'll talk about schedules at some point. Schedules are a great tool for parenting your kids. And then we can also probably do a quick refresh on, you can literally walk through your house with a sheet of paper and make up chores if you need to make up. If you have like 5 kids in a small 3-bedroom house, you can find things.
Oh, yeah.
And so we'll kind of
ceiling.
Personally would not recommend dusting. We used to have to do ceiling fans.
Fan.
There we go.
That was the worst.
Baseboards was a job.
I hated
Bookshelves.
baseboards. Was every Monday. I hated baseboards. Anyway, join the school community, and we'll talk a lot about that. We'll get mom in there and have her do some stuff on creating chores and helping your family get organized with that, because it can be a chore to create and reinforce the teaching.
Some
of
people
chores.
love that.
Some people do love that. I hate it. So anyway, join the school community. It'll be the top link in the show notes on Spotify and on YouTube. It's free for now, but it won't be free forever, so join now. And then also, if you're listening and you like this and you want to come back and hear about how to manipulate your way out of chores or how to parent good children that glorify God, hopefully that's why you want to come back. One of them.
We have like 10-year-olds as our audience. Like, oh, how can we?
Droopy's top podcast. But subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, and then leave any questions you have in the comments. You can always email us at futurefamiliespod@gmail.com if you don't want us to read your comment out loud, or if it's just easier for you. Am I missing anything?
I don't think so.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining in. Have a nice Christmas.
Oh yeah, Merry Christmas.
I'm not recommending starving your children. Just FYI. I want to be clear. I don't want to get raked over the coals.
Flamed.
I'm
gonna clip it. I don't even do the clips for our show, but I'm gonna ask that one gets clipped. Anyway, on that note, we'll see you guys next week. Maybe Zane won't be here.
Thanks for tuning in.
Because you got in trouble.